Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. What's good with you? And so here we go. Time to update for our AP top 25 here heading into week 7 here. And so here we go. We'll go ahead and start at the top there. So at number 1 there, we've got the University of Georgia top there. They took care of business against Auburn, winning 42-10. Defense looked very good against that offense there. They'll be playing against Vanderbilt. And so Vanderbilt, hey, this is one of the better years that Vanderbilt has had as of late. And so last week against Ole Miss. They actually kept, I'm sorry, yeah, against Ole Miss. They kept it close though last week against them, but ultimately they did fell short against them. And so, yeah, but this will be, another team where, Georgia should go out there and take care of business. But the two previous weeks, so things were pretty interesting. So we'll see how it goes. We're putting them at number 1. Absolutely agree with that decision. Have them at number 1. Now at number 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes also represent 6-0. And so they beat Michigan State at Michigan State 49-20. CJ Stroud, him, Marvin Harrison Jr., they look fantastic offensively out there. Took care of business on the road against Sparty. And so they'll have a bye this upcoming week. At number 3, Bama fell from 1-3 despite winning against Texas A&M. It was ultimately close, 24-20. Some controversial decisions in that game there, but ultimately Bama does come up with the win. But they're going to have a huge test coming up next week at Tennessee. Until Tennessee, ranked number 6, looking amazing so far this season, also undefeated. So that's going to be a big time matchup. Cannot wait to see that matchup there, Bama versus Tennessee. Now at number 4, Clemson, on the road at Boston College, winning 31-3, very decisive there. They got Florida State coming up on the road. That can be a sneaky game there. Florida State just did lose a very close, heartbreaking game against North Carolina State there. So it'll be interesting there, but still an opportunity to go out there and add to that resume. At number 5, you've got Michigan. So they won against Indiana 31-10. A lot of that was late scoring late in that game there, but they've got a big matchup there coming up against Penn State, who's also undefeated. So two teams in the Big Ten that's both ranked in the top 10. That'll be fun to watch as well. And then we mentioned at number 6, Tennessee going up against Bama. They did beat LSU 40-13. Very convincing how they beat LSU, who was previously ranked. And so USC at number 7. Now they did beat Washington State 30-14, and they've got Utah on the road coming up here. So that'll be a fun contest to watch. And at number 8, Oklahoma State. And so they fell one spot despite winning over Texas Tech 41-31, and they will have a nice matchup against number 13 ranked TCU on the road. At number 9, Ole Miss, they beat Vanderbilt there due to a strong second half. That game was extremely close there at the half, but after the halftime, took care of business there 52-28. Henceforth, they stayed at number 9, and they'll be playing Auburn next week. Then at number 10, Penn State, we mentioned big game coming up on the road there at Michigan, going down to the big house. That would be a huge win for this program if they can go down to Michigan and win. At number 11, UCLA, 6-0. They'll be going against number 11 Utah. I'm sorry, they beat number 11 Utah 42-32, and they'll have a bye week coming up for them. The Oregon Ducks, they've climbed back up to 12 here. They're 5-1. Obviously, that only loss coming at the hands of Georgia opening week, which was a massive loss. But since then, they've been righting the ship, and so they beat Arizona 49-22. They have a bye week here. Then that number 13 is TCU. And so they did beat Kansas at Kansas 38-31. Big time matchup that was. And then they'll be playing against Oklahoma State. That'll be a very tough game there against Oklahoma State, but a big opportunity for a team that is currently undefeated. Number 14, you've got Wake Forest with one loss. And so they beat Army 45-10. Bye week coming up. At 15, North Carolina State, they did drop one, but the important part is they didn't drop the game against Florida State. They won that one 19-17, despite the fact that Florida State made some mistakes there, but it's their job to capitalize on it. And they'll be going on the road against Syracuse, who's been a very quiet team. So I'm really going to be looking at this game there, Syracuse versus North Carolina State there. That should be a fun one. You got Mississippi State here at 16. They're 5-1. They just ran through Arkansas. Of course, Arkansas didn't have their starting quarterback there, KJ Jefferson, but they still won that one 40-17, and they'll be going on the road against Kentucky in that one. And so at number 17 is Kansas State. And so they beat Iowa State in a low-scoring game. Iowa State did not score a touchdown against them. Number 18, Syracuse, as I mentioned before, against North Carolina State coming up. 19 is Kansas. And so they'll be going. They lost to TCU, stayed pretty much where they're at, and they'll be playing against Oklahoma coming up here. So Oklahoma got embarrassed out there against Texas 49-0. So they'll be looking to bounce back at home there. But we'll see if Kansas can go on the road here and beat Oklahoma. At number 20, you've got Utah. So Utah 4-2 right now. They dropped 9 points on the poll here, so a massive drop there, dropping 9 parts. Both them and Kentucky had was tied for the biggest drop so far this week, but they dropped 9 spots there after losing to UCLA 42-32. But a matchup against number 7 USC, you win that matchup there, that's going to jump you back up. So you get an opportunity to rebound quickly, and you're going to have to rebound quickly there against USC. At number 21, you've got Cincinnati there, 5-1, moved up 3 spots there. And so versus South Florida, they won 28-24. And as for Kentucky, ranked 22. Matter of fact, we've got two teams currently ranked right now at 22 in the AP poll. I'm not very familiar with this happening often, but they got both Kentucky and Texas at 22. So we don't have a 23 ranked team. There's just two teams that are at 22. For Kentucky, 4-2. They dropped 9 spots there. They lost to South Carolina, 24-14. Big upset, huge upset. Of course, no Will Levis, but still they lost that game to South Carolina, and they'll get a chance for a rebound here against Mississippi State. There at home. Mississippi State ranked number 16, which we discussed earlier there, but they're 22. Texas is also 22. They're 4-2 on the year. Big win against Oklahoma, 49-0, shot them back up into being ranked, and so they've got Iowa State coming up there. Coming up, and then at 24, you've got the Fighting Illini. They're 5-1, and so they beat Iowa 9-6. So low scoring matchup in that one, and they'll be playing at home against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. So it'll be interesting to see what this team does moving forward. And at 25, James Madison. And so they beat Arkansas State 42-20. They got Georgia Southern coming up. Georgia Southern's been a pretty good team there. And so on the road at Georgia Southern, but James Madison at 5-0, they are your 25th ranked team. So that's our AP top 25. Other teams that received some votes, you had North Carolina. They did beat Miami 27-24. Baylor, Coastal Carolina, BYU, who had lost to Notre Dame, both of them up there, Florida, Tulane, Purdue, Florida State, South Carolina, Washington State, Minnesota, Maryland, LSU, and San Jose State, all receiving other votes. Who dropped out of the top 25? Well, BYU dropped from 16 to unrank, Washington dropped from 21 to unrank, and LSU dropped from 25 to unrank as well. But there you have it, guys. Our AP Top 25 here, entering into the next week of college football here. And so this will be fun with some upcoming matches here, some big time matchups here. We're at the meat of the schedule where we're getting nothing but exciting games coming up. So if you love college football, this is the time of the year that you're happy about, guys. With that being said, thanks again for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And with that being said, thanks again for watching. See you guys next time.